You are listening to the Aging Starts Now podcast, where it's all about responding with confidence to the legal, financial, and personal challenges created by a disability, unexpected illness, or aging in general. Join us weekly as elder law attorneys Barbara McGinnis and Chris Johnson, along with other members of the Johnson-McGinnis Elder Care Law and Estate Planning team, talk about the tools, techniques, strategies, and services that will make the elder care journey easier for everyone involved. Get ready, because aging starts now.
Welcome back to Aging Starts Now, the podcast from Johnson-McGinnis Elder Care Law and Estate Planning, where we help you navigate the legal, financial, and personal challenges that come with aging. I'm your host, Attorney Joshua Hunter, and today we're diving into a topic that can make a meaningful difference for veterans and their families, the VA Caregiver Support Program. If you're caring for a veteran or planning ahead for long-term care, understanding what benefits may be available and how to access them can be incredibly important. One area that often causes confusion is the two different paths for support within this program and how they impact both caregivers and the veterans they serve. But to help us break this down, I'm joined by our public benefits specialist, Tyler McCullar, and Tyler works closely with families every day to help them navigate VA benefits and long-term care planning. Tyler, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Well, let's jump right in. So for listeners who may be new to this, what is the VA Caregiver Support Program and who is it designed to help? And on the back of that, why is this program so important for veterans and their caregivers?
So the VA Caregiver Program, it's a national program, and it's comprised of two different sub-programs, the Program of General Caregiver Support Services and the Program of Comprehensive Assistance for Family Caregivers, and it's provided by every VA health facility or program that's really tailored support for caregivers providing regular care to veterans.
Okay. All right. So this program's offering these two different paths, as you explained. Can you cover what they are and kind of how they work?
Yeah. So the first path is the Program of General Caregiver Support Services. This program, it provides support, mentoring, skills training, coaching, telephone support, online programs, and referrals to available resources. And it is specifically provided to any veteran that needs regular care and is having that care provided by a family caregiver.
Okay.
And as long as they're enrolled in VA Health. The second program, or the other sub-program to the Caregiver Support Program, is called the Program of Comprehensive Assistance for Family Caregivers. And this program provides all of the same resources as the Program for General Caregiver Support Services, and it also adds a little bit more. It also offers some education, support, a stipend or medical or a financial stipend and support to provide care, as well as potential health insurance for the caregiver. And this is primarily for veterans who have an injury or disability that has been service-connected at a 70% rating or higher.
Oh, okay. So tell me if I'm getting this right as I'm recapping this with you. Generally about qualifications, more people are going to qualify for the general caregiver support, as that's just a Veterans Health Administration benefit. But the comprehensive assistance, if I was hearing you right, is really dependent upon having that service-connected disability, maybe a higher level of need, and is going to be more limited in scope in terms of accessibility due to those heightened requirements.
That's absolutely correct. The General Caregiver Support Services is going to be for mostly all veterans who are eligible and enrolled in VA healthcare and need regular care services from a family caregiver, whereas the comprehensive program is the cutoff there is for veterans that are 70% service-connected disability rating or higher.
And so this is one of those interesting worlds then where the Veterans Benefits Administration and the Veterans Health Administrations overlap a bit. And so that's a good thing to make sure we point out to our listeners. But let's dig into what this financial support means. What kind of funding or stipend is available under these programs?
Absolutely.
In
When
particular,
it
the
comes
PCAFC.
Yes, absolutely. So the stipend, it works in two levels when it comes to the Program for Comprehensive Assistance for Family Caregivers. If they are eligible for this benefit, for this stipend, the first level, what they call level one, is provided to the family caregiver to provide direct financial support and caregiving for the veteran. What they look at is they look at the OPM general schedule, or the Office of Personal Management, or Personnel Management rather. They look at that general schedule chart, grade 4, step 1, on salary amounts when it comes to determining what they're going to pay out in that stipend. For level 1 payout, they divide that grade 4, step 1 salary amount, which was $36,409 for this year, 2026.
Okay.
They take that amount, divide it by 12, and then they take 62.5% of that amount, and that becomes the monthly payout for level 1 recipients, which for this year, for example, in Tennessee, it comes out to $1,896 monthly benefit. There is a
That's a
second level
fantastic
to
support.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, level 2, this is for veterans that they have defined as unable to self-sustain in the community. If
Okay.
a veteran does receive this tag while receiving this stipend, then they get the full amount of the general schedule when they're looking at it. So instead of getting just the 62.5% in level 1 and level 2, they get the full amount, which would be the $36,409 yearly or $3,034 monthly.
Wow, that's a great jump. So, is there a sliding scale to it, or is it kind of you either get that 62% or you get that elevated amount when you've checked that box of being unsustainable within the community alone?
Yeah, great question. So what happens is when a veteran and their caregiver is approved for this program, they do a in-home evaluation with both the veteran and the caregiver by a staff member of the VA health clinic or facility that is going to be sponsoring this program for them and providing them resources. During that evaluation, based off of the information that the staff member from the VA gathers, based off of the veteran's care needs, the level of care that the caregiver is providing, the amount of hours, they will make that determination on whether the veteran fits within that level 1 of receiving regular standard care but still is self-sustaining in their community.
Okay.
Or they'll make the determination if the veteran is to the level of being unable to self-sustain in their community. So they make that determination on that in-home evaluation process they do after a veteran qualifies.
Well, that sounds easy enough. So it's just based on that in-home eval. It's not necessarily something the family needs to worry or prep or prove.
That's correct. The VA evaluates that process for them. And if there is a situation where the family does disagree with the evaluation, they can always ask for a re-review.
Good. Okay, that was a good thing I was about to ask. So, just to keep things clear for our listeners, as we opened by talking about how confusing these two programs are, it's worth illustrating that what we've discussed so far is, again, just that comprehensive program, right? It's not the general caregiver support. So, then that's worth me asking you, does the general caregiver support service provide any direct financial assistance?
Unfortunately, the General Caregiver Support Program does not provide financial support when it comes to providing a stipend or any type of financial help on providing care to the veteran, but they do provide other resources that are valuable to the caregiver, such as telephone support, skills training, peer support, mentoring, coaching, and referrals to various community resources to really help them provide care to the veteran themselves. So
It's
it's
still a great benefit. Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a good way to help differentiate these two programs for those that are listening. So while the comprehensive may be harder to get, it's because it comes with a bit more bang for the buck. So how does the level of support differ between the two programs in just real world terms?
So in real world terms, the Program for Comprehensive Assistance of Family Caregivers provides everything that the Program of General Caregiver Support provides, but with a monetary support with the stipend, mental health counseling and respite for the caregiver to be able to get resources for a break, and for mental health counseling such as caregiver burnout, as well as possible health insurance if the caregiver is uninsured.
Okay, well that's good. So it's everything in the general plus a little more when you qualify.
Exactly.
Well, let's pivot to another thing here because we often hear that VA benefits are so complex to deal with and many families give up. So, what are some common misconceptions or mistakes that people make when applying for these programs? What do you see?
Yeah, lots of misconceptions. I would say one thing is the support that is available. A lot of veterans, still don't know that this benefit is available to them, so they may be afraid to ask questions about it or to apply them for themselves when it comes to receiving this benefit. One misconception may be that you can't qualify for VA benefits and qualify for this benefit, which is a misconception. You can qualify for both.
Okay.
So I would say those are the two biggest things as veterans kind of having that paralysis by analysis as we've used by example with our estate planning and life care planning on veterans, having the information but being afraid to apply or not realizing that there are benefits available for the taking.
We see it all the time, Tyler. And so that leads us to an interesting question here. While these programs sound fantastic and like something many listeners would want to jump into, what does the application process look like and where should someone begin?
Yeah. So for the general program, for the Program of General Caregiver Support Services, all you simply have to do is be enrolled in VA Health and notify the facility or clinic that you're available and receiving those services. There is no formal application process for the general program. It's just about requesting the clinic or the facility to get it started for you.
Well, that should make it easier to access, yeah.
It certainly does. For the Program of Comprehensive Assistance for Family Caregivers, that one does require a form to sign. Some veterans may be familiar with a form that they had to fill out in the past called the VA Form 1010EZ, which is just the general application for VA healthcare. For the Comprehensive Assistance for Family Caregivers programs, the VA form requires VA Form 1010CG. And just like you think, the CG part stands for caregiver, and it is the form to sign up for this comprehensive caregiver program. It requires the information of the veteran, the primary caregiver, and anybody within the family or surrounding support system that is going to be named as a secondary caregiver.
I see. And that leads me to a tip I heard at a recent VA presentation where The VA themselves were describing how often they have to deny applications for only providing information on the veteran or only providing information on the caregiver, and they need both, right? So these forms are very important when it comes to that comprehensive program, and having it done right the first time matters.
It's extremely important because the evaluation process requires an evaluation of both the veteran and the caregiver. They want to evaluate the care needs of the veteran, and they want to evaluate the suitability of the caregiver to be able to provide for the veteran's needs. So it's very important that they have the information for both.
Well, that makes perfect sense, but let's say somebody fumbled it or made a mistake or something like that happens and they get denied. Do they have options to appeal or reapply, or what's their recourse?
Absolutely, they can. They can always submit supplemental evidence at any time to support their claim. If they have any other additional evidence to provide, let's say they accidentally left information off of a form, they can always complete that form and submit it again as supplemental evidence to move their claim along and get another redetermination on it. If there is no other supplemental evidence to provide and they're wanting to appeal that decision, they can always ask for a clinical review where the VA looks at the clinician's decision and reviews it at the clinical level. You can always ask for a higher level review where a supervisor of the claims that made a decision on your application re-reviews the same application and the same evidence to make sure that they made the correct decision. Or you can always take it to the Board of Veteran Appeals, where an administrative law judge for the VA would make a determination on your claim based off of the evidence that's provided.
I see. Okay. So if we were trying to sum it up here, Tyler, what's one key piece of advice you would give to caregivers navigating these two programs?
Reach out and get applied for these programs right away. We understand here as a firm that caregiving is the hardest job that you'll ever take on, especially when it's a loved one who has, extensive care needs and around the clock care that you're providing them. There is support out there. So my biggest advice is don't be afraid to ask questions. Get as much resources as you can, reach out to people, get these pieces started, because the quicker you get on the ball of applying for these programs, the quicker you can get support, education, resources to be able to provide care to your veteran.
Perfect. Okay. So where can our listeners go to learn more or get help applying?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can get more resources on this program by, you can first start at the VA. The caregiver.va.gov has lots of various information on these programs, resources that you can download or pull off, and just various information on where you can go. As far as applying, obviously reach out to your local VA clinic or facility, your local veteran services officer. If you're a client of ours with our life care planning and our asset protection planning, that's something that we provide resources for you and would be able to provide that to you here. So there are various ways to obtain information, but I always recommend, if you need a quick way to get information, reach out to either your local veteran services officer or your local VA facility.
Wonderful. Well, Tyler, thank you so much for walking us through the VA Caregiver Support Program and its varying paths, and of course, helping clarify the differences between these two. And of course, I'd like to just thank you in general for what you do with our clients in navigating this difficult matter. This is such valuable information for families trying to make informed decisions about care. If you're listening today and wondering how these benefits might apply to your situation, or if you need help navigating the application process, as Tyler said, our team at Johnson McGinnis is here to help. You can learn more about our services or schedule a consult by visiting us online at tn-elderlaw.com or by giving our office a call. And if you found this episode helpful, be sure to subscribe to Aging Starts Now and share it with someone who might benefit from the information too. Thank you for listening, and remember, planning today can make all the difference for tomorrow. Join us next week for another episode of Aging Starts Now.
Thank you for listening to the Aging Starts Now podcast. For more information about today's show, visit tn-elderlaw.com, click on the Free Resources tab, and then click on Aging Starts Now. You'll find the show notes there. And while you're at it, why not check out all the free resources available at tn-elderlaw.com? Document downloads, the Johnson McGinnis blog, educational videos, informative articles, helpful links, a TV show, and more. It's all there, free for the taking. If you enjoy listening to the Aging Starts Now podcast, please subscribe, rate the show, or leave us a review. It's easy to do on whatever app you use to listen. We would love your feedback on the show. Aging Starts Now. We'll be back next week with more candid discussions about the challenges created by aging, disability, and unexpected illness.